All right, next up we're going to be talking about the bones of the appendicular skeleton. So the appendicular skeleton allows for the movement and interaction with the environment, and it's going to contain the pectoral girdle and the limbs. So we're going to talk first about the upper limbs in the upper region. So starting off with the pectoral girdle, this is going to consist of the scapula, which is also known as the shoulder blade, and the clavicle, or the collarbone, found sort of in the front. Now the clavicle is going to join with the sternum and the acromion process of the scapula. That'll be this region right in here. The muscles of the arm and chest are going to attach to the coracoid process of the scapula. So that'll be this region right in here. That's where our muscles from our arms are going to be attached. The glenoid cavity of the scapula is going to articulate with the head of the humerus and the body of the upper arm bone. Now this joint is going to be extremely mobile, but it is a little bit unstable. It can easily dislocate. This is why you may see or hear a lot of shoulder dislocations. It's because of this glenoid cavity not being quite as stable. You'll see that it's not as deep of a socket as we'll find in other joints. So that's the glenoid cavity right in here. Now, we do have some methods. It's not completely unstable. We do have ligaments and tendons that help stabilize this joint and to prevent that from happening. Now, the rotator cuff, those are going to be the tendons that extend to the humerus from the four small muscles originating on the scapula. If you have too much vigorous circular arm movements, it can lead to rotator cuff injuries of the tendons that are found in this region. So now the upper limb, that'll be the humerus in the arm and the radius and ulna of the forearm, are going to help control movement of the arm itself. So the humerus is the single long bone in the arm that's found in the upper region of the arm. It has a very smoothly rounded head that fits into the glenoid cavity of the scapula. Now the shaft of the humerus has a tuberosity or a protuberance where the deltoid or the shoulder muscles are going to attach. So that's going to be this protuberance right up here. Now the far end of the humerus has two protuberances right here and right here. These are called the capitulum and the trochlea, which are going to articulate respectively with the radius and the ulna at the elbow. Now the bump at the back of the elbow is called the olecranon process of the ulna, and that'll be found right there in the back, and again is used as a place for muscle attachment. Now the carpal bones are going to be the 8 bones found in the wrist. The metacarpal bones are going to be found in the hand, 5 bones found sort of in the palm of the hand. The metacarpal that leads to the thumb is opposable to the fingers. So that would be this bone right here. This is what gives us an opposable thumb. It allows our thumb to move in all directions as opposed to our fingers, which just sort of move back and forth. The knuckles are going to be the enlarged end of the metacarpals. That'll be this right in here. And then branching out from there, we have our phalanges. Our phalanges is going to be from that first knuckle onwards. Those are going to be the bones of the finger and the thumb. So that's our upper appendicular skeleton. Now the lower half of the appendicular skeleton is going to contain the pelvic girdle and its lower limb. The pelvic girdle is going to be the hip girdle. It consists of 2 coxal bones or hip bones that are to be found right up in here. The pelvis, which is going to be composed of the pelvic girdle, sacrum, and coccyx. This is going to be responsible for bearing the weight of the body and protecting the organs that are found within the pelvic cavity. This is also the place of attachment for the legs. That would be found right in here. Now the coxal bone, or each coxal bone, has 3 parts, the ilium, ischium, and pubis, which are going to be fused in the adult to form a single sort of pectoral girdle. The hip socket, called the acetabulum, that'll be this one right in here. This is going to be where the 3 bones meet. Their ilium is going to be the largest. That'll be this one branching out here. The ilium is the largest. We sit on the ischium, the bone down below, and which has a posterior spine called the ischial spine. This is where muscles are going to attach in the back of the leg. Now the 2 pubic bones are going to be joined at the center by a fibrocartilaginous joint called the pubic symphysis. Now the male male pelvis is going to be different from the female pelvis. In the female, the iliac bones, these ones right up here, are going to be more flared, and the pelvic cavity is going to be a little bit more shallow. But the outlet is going to be wider, this one right in here. These adaptations facilitate the birthing process. Now, the lower limb, in both males and females, will have the femur, which is going to be in the thigh, the tibia, and fibula, which is going to be found in the lower leg. Now, the femur, this bone right up here, is going to be the longest, strongest bone in the body. The head of the femur articulates with the coxal bones at the acetabulum. So that's going to be the socket right up here inside that pelvic girdle. The neck is going to be, the neck better positions the leg for walking. So that'll be this portion right here. It puts the leg a little bit outward from inside of the pelvic girdle, and it gives us more stability and balance for walking. Now, the femur is going to have two large processes, the greater and lesser trochanters, which are going to be the place of attachment for the thigh muscles, right down in here. So it's going to be, the greater trochanter is up here, the lesser trochanter is right back here. These are going to be the places of attachment for thigh muscles, buttock muscles, and the hip flexors. At the distal end, the further end, right down over here, the femur has a medial and lateral condyles. These are going to articulate with the tibia. Just below that, we're going to find the patella, also known as the kneecap. This is going to be held in place by the quadriceps tendon, which continues as a ligament that attaches to the tibial tuberosity. So it's going to extend down over the patella and attach down to the tibia at the tibial tuberosity, this front process right here. The medial malleolus at the distal end of the tibia is going to be this region right down in here, is going to be a site of attachment for the metatarsals of the foot. The fibula is more slender than the tibia. It has a head up here that's going to articulate with the tibia, and then the lateral malleus that forms the outer bulge of the ankle right down in here. The tarsal bones are the 7 bones that are found down in the ankle. The talus joins the tibia and the fibula. The calcaneus is going to be our heel bone. It's going to be found over in the back. The metatarsal bones are those 5 bones that are found on the instep, and then the phalanges will be the bones of the toes branching out from there. All right, you should be able to list the bones of the pectoral girdle and the upper limb, as well as the bones of the pelvic girdle and the lower limb. And then you should also be able to describe how you can tell the difference in gender from looking at the bones of the pelvic girdle.